Good morning, everyone, and very warm welcome to all of you. Deepika has given us a very interesting topic, I guess, right? The next big thing in cross-channel marketing, right? So we will talk about how customer experience is evolving over the time, thanks to AI, personalization, massive innovation in the field, and things like sustainability, right? So let's hear from our, amazing panelists. Uh, what is coming next, and how brands are connecting with people in new ways. So before we begin into formal conversation, I would like to have a small quiz. Are you guys ready? So which company has popularized the term customer obsession as a core principle of CX? Any idea? Any guesses? Anyone? It's Amazon, right? Thank you, Chaitanya. So let's begin the conversation. I would like to start with you, Archana. Right? Geo serves an incredibly diverse markets, right? How do you ensure uniform customer experience, quality across digital and physical touch points in such a vast ecosystem?
Good morning, everybody, and thanks, Kanchan, for this question. Before I get into the question and the answers, so if you look at the journey of internet, it has now transited from mere convenience into something which is, people can't do away with in modern life, okay? And it has surpassed electricity, food, if we listen to customers. That's the kind of significance which internet has got today in the modern world. And at Reliance Jio, the kind of business I come from, it is about broadbands, high-speed internet, ultra-speed internet, right from ranging, so from 30 Mbps to 1 gig, okay? The kind of product which we sell is obviously high-speed internet, STBs, OTTs and all. And if we look at the market, it is complex. It is like billion micro markets. So it's challenging at the same time. It's a very big responsibility to ensure that the customer experience which we have is not only standardized, it moves the way customer wants. Now, if we look at the entire customer framework which we have designed at Reliance Jio, it is set up on 3 powerful moves, okay? The first one is about real time, and also apart from real time, the standardizations. Okay, so I'll just take a use case to explain this, how real time information matters to today's customer and also the brand. So just imagine you're watching something you're streaming a movie, okay? And when you're streaming a movie, suddenly what happens that your internet goes off, okay? And you as a customer, you just reach out to the digital channel, which is My Jio app. You go there and you find that everything is working fine as per the app. Okay. So there are no insights, there is no call to action for the customer. And since everything is working fine, so the customer comes out, and that's the point where the system performance loses out the trust of customer. Okay. So real time matters a lot when it comes to service industry like ours. And if information is not real time, then there's no point of having service. So that's the first thing. Second is that if you look at standardization, so every industry is having omni-channels, so which consists of digital channels, your call centers, your voice call centers, your field staff. What we have ensured that the language is same when a customer is doing a transaction. He gets the same experience across every platform. Okay. So to make that happen, there are a lot of algorithm, and we have everything in-house. So Geo Data Lake. So there are 20 systems which is having various kind of performance data of customers. And that 20 systems are integrated into one big data lake so that the performance is reported real time. Okay. The second, so that's the first pillar. The second pillar is, which we were also talking, backstage, and then we were talking to him about the local nuance and local flavors. So no matter how good your experience is, but at a regional level, if you do not allow the customizations, then it will not work. So we are, as I was telling you, off stage also, we are doing a lot of digitizations, a lot of digital stuff. But we had a challenge. Today, 80% of the customers are on the channel and 20% of them are not. And okay, we did a VOC just to understand why these 20% customers are not coming to the digital channel. And after that research, what we got is, we will not come because it's not in your regional language. We do not understand the tech language. Okay, the senior citizens, the older generation, they want their own languages. So that's something which we have ensured that it's part of the Geo framework. And third is the most important, which is the proactive. Know before the customer knows the problem. Okay, as a brand, we are focusing on that, and to make that proactive really working for customer. And so again, it's a lot of algorithm. We have actually moved from AI to ambient AI to also understand the moods and other stuff of the customers. So, again, taking a use case, so if you are off the internet, so let's say there is a Zoom call happening and you, as a customer, you are on a Zoom call and the internet goes off. I hope I am audible. Yeah. The way the system is designed, that if even before the customer acts, we know that there is a problem. So there is an auto ticket generation which happens, auto engineer allocation which happens. Okay. So that's how the entire journey is moving. So if we look at, so these are the three pillars, and that's how we are proceeding.
Wonderful insights, Archana. So being real time and personalized and proactive, they are the three pillars of customer experience these days. So coming to you, Chaitanya, so you are also working with multiple retail and service brands, right? So what is the most underrated customer experience challenge you have seen so far while enabling cross-channel journeys for them?
So I'll start with a couple of data points. If we combine Google and AI today, there are around 16.5 billion searches happening on everyday basis, and 90% of which are unbranded today. So while most of the brands are aspiring to build an omni-channel journey, the core challenge that everyone faces a unified view of the information or getting that personalized touch. I'll give you a small example. There was a customer who was searching for a gadget. He or she visited a particular Google business profile while searching for a particular product, and it was a handset device. And once they landed on the store page, they actually got in touch base with the store. While store didn't answer the call, they had to visit the store to buy the product. The store was off on that day, right? So while brands are today focusing on building an omni-channel journey, having a right website, right applications, new ways to onboard our customers, or even new payment methods getting integrated. But the core challenge was whether do everyone have a unified view of what's happening at a hyper-local perspective. Because every customer is a new data point, is a new data set. How brands today decode while building their omni-channel journey, that becomes the core. And that single interface, what we are trying to build is bridging these omni-channel journeys, right? Having accurate and a unified information across search, across social, and your hyperlocal microsites that we build is through which we are building up and making sure these marketeers, all of them get a unified view of what's actually happening. And from customer perspective as well, customer also gets to know what information is available and it's unified across all the platforms so that they can trust the source of the information. That's what our product is powering at the back end.
Very interesting. So every customer is a data point, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So coming to you, Nikhil, with Tata Digital's broad portfolio, how do you orchestrate a unified customer experience that aligns across verticals?
So first of all, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me and obviously all of us, okay, for this session. See, it's a very simple answer of how do I basically, because Tata New as a app has multiple categories. And multiple categories means multiple different types of customers, you will get it. How do I basically service those customers? A very simple answer is come to these sessions, talk to people like this, okay, all are from different categories, learn from them, go back home, okay, and deploy those strategies. Okay, and it works. And by the way, it has worked in the past. On a serious note, see that I'll break this question into two parts, right? One is, on certain areas, okay, there is a commonality, okay, of how we are going to service irrespective of the category, which we call it as basically common core elements. Then you have another part which basically is category conscious. Okay. So the sum of both. So for example, irrespective of the category, whether it is a grocery or a pharmacy or a electronics or a Taj Hotel where we are sitting right now, or Air India, whatever, there are certain key tenets which will be common, like empathy, like customer centricity, okay, like accountability. Those are the things which are common irrespective of who the customer is. Because that is something which is non-compromisable, especially the brand which we come from, okay, the house which we come from, okay, those are things which are completely common, right? And those have to be focused irrespective of the category. Where the distinction comes is depending on which category we are talking about. And again, please note, I'm not differentiating between a customer who is buying a 100 rupee grocery or a vegetable from our Big Basket subsidiary, or he's staying in a Taj Hotel, spending 50,000 rupees, okay, on his stay and dining. The variation comes in what the category is. For a grocery, it is a 10-minute delivery, so you have to basically give it, okay, and make sure the person gets that stuff within 10 minutes with the right quality, freshness, whatever it needs. So is the case for a medicine delivery, because that medicine is critical. You have to basically do it, lab test, where you have to get the report in 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever. On the other side, you stay in Taj, okay, there is a factor of Tajness, which Taj promotes, and that is something which should come up as a part of your communication with your customers. Similarly, if you are buying a jewelry from Tanishq store or from our app, there's a different factors which have to be considered, because that's a different category altogether. So to summarize, there will be a core common things which we have to do it across the categories, and those are specific things which you have to do it depending on what that category is about. So this is what the customer sees it. Now, how do we enable it internally at our side? So very simply, as I said, for those core ones, there are principles. For example, you will have when the agents get onboarded, or even when we create the automated journey, what Archana was talking about, right, for different categories. Okay, you have to be conscious of the fact that, okay, which categories and which use cases will be automated, where you can have a bot or a machine responding to it, but there are certain use cases within that category which has to be handled by the human. Okay. For example, if your medicine is getting late for whatever reason, because the truck broke down or whatever, and you basically let the bot talk to that person, okay, you can understand the frustration what that person is, okay, and that is where that use case determines that, okay, yes, up to an extent, I will give him or her the ETA of when that medicine is arriving, but then I have to basically make sure I connect with the customer so that he understands, and if it is urgent, then I'll go extra mile and get it done, okay. So that is the difference. So internally, when we do our training program, that is what it is happening. Similarly, internally, when we do the automation part, which as Geo is doing 80%, we are around 85% of it. But depending on different categories, the percentage varies. But those are also considered, okay, while we provide this unified customer experience. And again, this is not a one-time exercise. So let's say if I have created those automated journeys for certain use cases, for certain categories, those may not remain automated or a non-human interface throughout the life. I have to again, every 3 months, every 2 months, I have to see how is my customer responding to those with an automated versus a human journey, and keep evolving, keep changing. Okay, and that is what we do it. So these are the two main areas of doing. Underlying, the fact is you have to provide the best customer experience. You have to ensure that, okay, the brand which you are entitled for, the brand which customer are coming for, the word Tata, right? The trust associated with that brand, okay, that has to be exhibited, okay, when you provide that service. So that is how we differentiate and provide it.
Very interesting insights, Nikhil. I think everything can't be automated. Huh? Human touch is important, at least for certain categories, right? And you mentioned the empathy and accountability are two core principles for customer experience, right? Yeah. So coming to you, Protiti, now. So Nikhil already talked about, pharma category. You handle the same category, which is very sensitive, right? How do you deliver, engaging and omni-channel experience without overstepping the compliance protocols?
Thanks, Archana, first of all, for having me here, and good morning, everyone. Very relevant question. Everyone in today's world wants to be healthy, and they have a dependence on medicines, vaccines, etc. I come from a highly regulated industry, like similar to that of a banking, for example. Again, just trying to divide the question into two parts. One is about customer experience, which I feel is common across all industries, because you, at the end of the day, you service the customer and then you get business out of it. And then comes, the compliance part. So just trying to kind of summarize what customer experience for me means. It's not just about one interaction, right? To what you said, sir, it's not about a one-time activity that you do with your customer. It's something that you have to keep doing again and again. It's a sum of all the interaction that essentially shapes your products, your service, and essentially how the customer is connecting to your brand and to your organization, right? And if you think from a pharma aspect, right? So there are 3-4 things which really matters when it comes to customer experience. One is building trust. And this is by the nature of industry, because again, the product that you're talking about is impacting someone's life, right? So it's often a matter of life and death for the person, right? If it's an infective, for example, the person is in and out of ICU because of that medicine. So there is a lot of importance, that we give to building trust with our customers. And our customers are, by the way, doctors, who are often considered next to God. So it's important as, a responsible pharma organization to provide them not only valuable content and education, but also to ensure that, it is relevant and it is really adding value to make decision on the patient's life. So number one is building trust. Number one, I think everyone spoke about personalization, real-time experience, which is key in pharma as well, because if you look at the scientific world, it is evolving rapidly, right? Every day there is a new research paper comes, every day there is some clinical trial that goes on, accompanied with a lot of fake news also that comes, right? And people get impacted by it. So definitely relevance and personalization definitely helps. Third, I think you spoke about is, the optimization, right? Your data-driven optimization, that any campaign you run, any project you run, you keep on optimizing it based on historical data, based on insights, based on, what really has it matter to the customer, right? So these are some of the key aspects which comes to CX in pharma. And I believe that if this is done right, then CX creates that business differentiator in the market, and which essentially, helps you gain advantage over your competition, for example. Next comes the compliance part, and I have very high regards for, our legal and compliance team, because essentially they are setting guardrails and they have much more experience to really see that when that 1 in a million thing goes wrong, right, then what is the possible repercussion on business and its reputation, right? And in pharma industry, we are all aware about, all the legal suites, that run for companies like J&J and all of that, and what type of cost does it have, not only from a money perspective, but also on the reputation. So it's very important, and if I have to say from my experience that, look, marketing is a bit about customer obsession, it's about madness, and compliance to me is bringing that discipline in marketing. So you have to have the right balance when you are promoting a product and not over-producting and not over-promoting, because it might have some side effects or some adverse effect on someone's life, but also ensuring that the right message gets percolated to the patients and the HCPs. So for me, if I have to kind of say that, how do you ensure that this balance is maintained, is number one, know what compliance really means in your organization. Every company has its own way of defining processes and frameworks, so it's very important to know. I have seen people struggling on that, they don't know the basic processes, and therefore there are delays in timelines and all of that happens. So know what's happening in your company and know what's happening outside of your company in the overall industry, your FDA regulations, your medical bodies, what they are saying, what's new in the market. Second, I would say, is have transparency in your communication, right? Whether it is a bit of an asterisk, which really helps the doctor or the patient to know completely about your product, is key to me, because again, going back to the CX, it helps me building trust with my customer. The customer knows that this company is reliable, the information that I'm getting from this company is reliable. Right? So therefore, having transparency is key into whatever omni-channel and content journey, whatever you build, right? Third, I would say is, and again, very, very important in, pharma and healthcare industry, is to have an open risk culture. Often I've seen that, people don't speak up much because it risks, right? So there is a bit of a psyche that, oh my God, what if I say and, things go wrong, or, my manager perceives it in a wrong way. And that's something that, I keep telling my team as well, that even if you think that, there is a 1% risk of, going things wrong, or the wrong campaign being sent to a wrong HCP, raise it so that you can take corrective actions and then, have. Fourth, I would say, is a bit of a preemptive strategy, if I have to call it, is have a bit of a regular management monitoring in place. Right? So have some of your audits, etc. running, so that you kind of preempt some of these risks, so that, in case that happens, you're at least, well prepared on documentation, on, risks, issues, etc. Right? And at the end of the day, I feel that compliance is not one team's job, it's everyone's job, right? And this is something I keep echoing in all my meetings and all my boardroom calls and to the team as well. So at the end of the day, again, going back to the summary, that it's about balance, that how you're balancing your communication as well as compliance, and at the end of the day, passing on the right message, which really matters to the patient at the end of the day.
Very interesting indeed. So you have to be compliant, you have to be transparent, you have to be consistent, and also keep updating yourself so that you can optimize your systems, right, Protiti? Thank you for your views. And now coming to you, Sonam, you represent an impulse category, right? How do you use cross-channel insights to create habitual digital engagement and brand stickiness?
I think I've got one of the most interesting categories. And let me throw a question to the audience out here. I think they've been paying attention for a very, very long time. Now just close your eyes for a second. Imagine there was this bowl of Pringles kept on the table. And while you're paying attention to all the panel discussions, all you have to do is just keep on munching and snacking away. Didn't I just induce an emotion amongst all of you? You were not hungry. You were definitely looking forward probably to your lunch, or maybe had a heavy breakfast. But that sudden impulse of having those tasty, delicious Pringles on your table induced an emotion in all of you. And that is exactly what we look forward to when we are working with a snacking category like Pringles and Kellanova. So when it comes to Pringles, you have to be relevant. You have to be relevant in the right space, in the right timing for the audience, whether it is sports, whether it's just impulse buying, whether it's, the nighttime scrolling of reels that you do. If you're not available at the right time, at the right relevant time, the entire ball game goes for a toss. So I think the first thing that we must remember is that snacking as a category is an emotion. Second, be relevant. Third and foremost is, today we've got so many choices that are there in the market. I think one of the most toughest thing that a person has is decision fatigue. If you give a person too many choices, you're just going to be bogged down with what do you decide. That's when you start layering with what is your preference, what is the features, what is the price point, and yes, As Indians, I think we are very, very value for money people, and therefore we will always compare. So I think reducing the decision fatigue also helps in customer journeys. Therefore, all you have to do is be relevant, bang on the emotion that is there, and third and foremost is reduce the decision making for your customer. I think these are the most relevant things that are necessary when it comes to a snacking category, and that is what I would leave my points with.
Very interesting points you made, Sonam. Thank you. Now coming to you, Sumiit. As a CPaaS enabler, how do you see conversational messaging evolving beyond support into primary CX driver across industries?
Well, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this panel. A lot has been said in terms of getting your systems data in place, ensuring that you're relevant. I've never seen confess so much love about compliance and legal publicly that Protiti did, but it's great to know this because what's now happening, and I come from a organization that helps a lot of these brands reach out to their customers on the right platform, on the right channel, at the right time, all of this. So we enable right from your one-time or one-way communications like SMS or email to all your two-way interactions that include all your rich messaging channels, voice, chat conversations, etc. Talking about how conversations are evolving beyond chat or beyond support is we have to look at our phones, look at the two most used apps on your phone. One, I'm pretty sure, is WhatsApp. The other one could be Zepto or Blinkit, depending on your choices. But what's really happening is we do not go to a app or a website now to find or discover something. We are directly conversing with the brands that we actually love, or we interact with them, or we buy from them on a day-to-day basis. So previously, like how it started, whenever you had a problem, you went to Twitter and you just wrote a very nasty post about some brand spoiled your entire experience, etc. From that, I think it has now evolved to all of these brands living in your message inbox. And it's not only about that rant which is there, but they are actually talking to you about what you want next. They are understanding the choices that you're making. The context awareness of those conversations is increasing every single day because AI is getting infused. Like data is getting, fed into that system from multiple channels now. So we talked about, or we're talking about cross-channel, but cross-channel has now evolved into omni-channel actually, because you have to be present everywhere. The eureka moment can actually come anywhere. You are scrolling through Instagram, you see something and you want it, or you're driving on the highway, you see a hoarding, or there is something in the newspaper, you read about a story, your friend tells you something. There can be any moment where the customer thinks of something. So it's actually more omni-channel. You cannot wait for a moment that they will take out the time from their busy schedules to walk into a store, try out the product on their hands. No, it takes 10 minutes now for the product to come home. How are you making that top of the mind recall more relevant? It is also about how you are building that understanding with the customer. So if a brand resonates with you, like she said, relevance is very important. The moment I think of Pringles, it just brings down so many memories, right? Game nights, movie nights, it's always associated with that, and that's the memory that you're bringing in. So every time there is a craving, every time there is a need, how can that customer reach out to you? How are you building that kind of a relationship with the customer, irrespective of the platform, first of all? But coming to how our worlds are converging, you can do so many things now on a WhatsApp or on your messaging inbox. You don't need to go to a website. You want to buy a ticket for your metro, just go to WhatsApp. Mumbai Metro is live on WhatsApp. You want to Titan or Tanishq, they keep sending so many relevant messages. Like if you looked at pearls and then you have shortlisted something, you don't even have to go to their website. They will send you, you can add to cart, make the purchase, check out, right from that chat interface. So everything is converging. Your browsers are a part of your chat interface now. Payment channels are a part of that chat interface. Everything is converging. As much as we diversify, it's also kind of bringing everything to that one singular this thing. We are becoming a little too lazy to go to 3 different interfaces to buy a product now. All we need is, hey, I need this, can you send me? That's the lingo, that's the interaction that we are currently doing. And I think that's how we are evolving from support to a more intimate conversation with the brands.
Yeah, very interesting point, So like Sonam said, brands need to be relevant, and Sumiit is saying you have to be omnipresent across all touch points, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now moving on to the second round, and I'll come back to you, Archana, again. What does CS success look like in 2025 and beyond? And what metrics really matter when every touch point is digital, fast, and personalized?
So 2025 and beyond, okay. See, I would say it will not be a complete overall. It will be a progression from where we are to where we want to go. Now, if you look at all this while, as a brand, we have been only focusing on transactions. Finishing a transaction within that turnaround time, doing a lot of VOC exercises to understand that what will be the ideal time to resolve an issue, proactively bringing all those things. So these are all which we are already doing. Now, if I look at 2025, there are a couple of things which are coming into my mind. And first is, and we are trying that internally within our system. So for example, let's say you as a customer is having a conversation with a call center advisor. Call center advisor, the way you are talking, the tonality, okay, the words, the choice of words which you are using, the system triggers based on the choice of word that this customer is emotionally either, is actually high because of some frustration in terms of no resolution. And at that point in time, through that trigger, which the call center advisor is getting, if it gets redirected to a person who is very high on empathy, okay. So the shift from transaction to actually dealing with a customer who is really frustrated. And when your emotions are high, then obviously your patience is low, okay. So can we do that at real time is one use case. At Reliance Jio, we are trying, okay. So that, and the challenge is that today, whenever there is a feedback or VOCs from customer, it takes a lot of time for us as a brand to actually evaluate, summarize, read those pre-texts, and understand what is that majority of your customers are asking. So that's the challenge, but I think if we can actually bring in AI through emotion, and because emotion is something still set aside, okay? If we can just work on that and give that kind of services to customer, it will make some sense. It's not about resolving instantly, it's about pacifying a customer and bringing him down to a level where he feels, a kind of some comfort which he gets. That's one. Second could be, a scenario where there is, with the help of AI, because see, if you look at the kind of subscriber base which we have, 480 million in mobile, okay, 20 million plus in broadband, which is air fiber and geo fiber. So the second use case is personalization in terms of, and not only personalization as in, just doing some kind of pleasantries, but also moving, taking a leap forward. So for example, again, an example to illustrate this situation. Let's say we all are broadband internet users, and we today, through our system, can understand as for a customer what is the ideal usage which he's doing. Okay, 14 GB or something, you know, and then there are brackets which we have created internally to understand that if the customer usage is going up or somewhere, you know, in between, or it is kind of a sinusoidal that it's going up and down. So a pattern which we are trying to analyze, if there is a family of 5, there are 10 to 15 devices connected, because everybody has a mobile, personal mobile, and then there are TVs, security cameras, you will have a lot of, pads, iPads, and other stuff. So the devices are not as equal as in count as the number of family members. And the AI actually figures out that right now this customer is on a 300 Mbps plan, he needs more. And in a real time, if we can make that customer actually move from a 300 Mbps plan to a plan which is 1 gig plan, or maybe somewhere in between, maybe 500 Mbps or something. So that's something becomes a use case for a customer that he has not said anything, but we are looking at the data, not as in data in terms of privacy, but the pattern of the data, the usage, and we are doing an intervention as a operator. Okay, so that's second use case. Now third use case would be, we were talking about so much about hyperlocal indexes and all, and we understand that hyperlocal really matters. So just to again explain this with the help of an example. Right now, see, all our measurements are like NPS and all. So we are just measuring 4 stars, 3 stars, some 3 decks and all. But we do not have a composite index where we can look at that at a local level. I'm talking about pin codes and digipins. Now the digipins are also introduced, right? So when we talk about pin codes and digipins, it talks about that. So for example, our market is very diverse, okay? It's not one market. There are billion micro markets which are there in India, okay? So what works for Mumbai may not work for Munger. It's a city in Bihar, okay? And what works for, so what may be very intrusive for, intuitive for Ahmedabad may be very confusing for Anandpur, you know? So then the local stuff comes into play. So for example, if let's say in a rural market, if somebody is using power and there is frequent outages, okay, and we understand that because of frequent outages, obviously is losing out on internet and other stuff. And if we can use that customer feedback or maybe data to do some interventions again, for example, a router operated on battery, okay? Because this setup will not work everywhere, but maybe for that rural situation, that router can provide a consistent internet for that market, okay? So that is hyperlocal composite index which will help us do that, okay? Fourth is zero touch interventions. Like for example, you, Kanchan, let's say, I don't know whether you have Jio broadband or not, but if tomorrow you want to move from Mumbai to Delhi, okay, and you do not want to talk to anybody in Jio, okay, but you decide to go to My Jio app and put a request for relocation. Relocation is a home move because she is moving from, let's say Delhi to Mumbai or Mumbai to Delhi. So she goes to My Jio and she does a simple request under, home move. She puts in her address. The system does the verification. Now there are not too many verifications, to be very honest, okay? But whatever authentication and validation are supposed to be done, with the set of rule and algorithm, the system checks it and your request is actually taken. You do not have to talk to engineer, do not have to talk to advisor. By the way, this we have today also. Okay, this thing. So I think couple of things like how we can translate customer feedback into real actions, how we can actually take a leap in terms of personalization, not by only, addressing you by name and just wishing you on your birthday, or remembering certain things and sending certain gifts or vouchers at your home, but using and making it very relevant for you, because I know you are using my product, I know what are your requirements. So plan upgrades, maybe plan downgrades also. Why do I push a higher plan to a customer whose usage is really 30 Mbps? Okay, so that's, and as I said, the hyper-local stuff and the zero touch. So I think largely it should be around that, and it will not take us completely away from what we are doing today. It's just that the effort has to be doubled, and it's like every algorithm which is available with through the systems and the data. And Geo have all, as I previously also said, it's all in-house. So we are doing a lot of actually research in understanding that as a customer, let's say you are a customer, right now I have almost 300 parameters per customer to understand. But am I able to do really processing of those 300 Mbps to understand that Kanchan has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 requirement? Today, no. But if the question is, are we in the process of doing it? So answer is yes, we are doing it. So that's the future.
Yeah, understanding customer needs and addressing them quickly, I think it is very important. Now quickly coming to you, Chaitanya, are brands doing enough to integrate, the media, CRM and retail data into a unified customer view? You have to share your views quickly, now we are running out of time.
To be honest, so data is today available for the brands. The data usability is the core challenge. See, so most of us comes from different brands. We all can relate to this. Our CRM teams, our media teams and retail teams all have different reporting heads. They have different KPIs, different targets to achieve. So it's like the day we get one unified view, right, of what to do with data, right, that becomes the core here. So yes, the brands do have the data availability today, but the data usability part becomes the core challenge here. And like she was mentioning, we already launched a product, we call it hyperx.ai, which actually helps the brands to do a transcription of your audio call to the entire data analytics around geographics and demographics of the customer. Imagine a world where I would able to tell as soon as the call ends that, okay, this customer is your customer, may purchase your car in the next 6 months' time, right? That's the power of AI. And that's where, when I said a unified view, imagine a CRM team, a marketing team, and the retail team gets to know that this is my customer who is going to make a purchase in next 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, depending upon the category. That becomes boom, like this is the product that you go to, right? So I think the core question would here be whether the data is available today and whether it's correctly used or not. So brands which are using the data which is available to them correctly will win faster. I think that's the core.
True. Coming to you, Nikhil, what is your long-term view on loyalty in a super app model? Do points and offers still matter, or CX is able to differentiate?
If I understood you right, does points matter or the experience, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not an Indian phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. Of course, offers and points do matter, otherwise there would not be a term called Black Friday, would not be a Singles Day sale, or Tata New Reward Leagues, and so on and so forth. So people do across the world, okay, they look for offers, they look for sale periods, they look for discounts, okay. And they look for the loyalty points as well. I think, in my view, that is something which is the first, it's a magnet to attract, okay, on your app or on your channel where you provide the services or sell the products. But that's only the first part of it, right? The more important part is, see, in a customer journey or in a customer acquisition, between customer acquisition and customer retention, retention is more important, correct? And hence, through these means, you will attract the customers, and you'll find, and there are a set of customers across. Again, I'm not talking about India or anywhere else, but there are deal seekers who will come, who will basically take the deal, go away, right? The beauty comes of how you keep them onto your app or onto your channel so that they continue to come back, okay? And one common word, okay, for this is customer experience, okay? How do you provide the customer experience right from a pre-purchase journey to a post-purchase journey? Across, okay? I was giving an example of Taj hotels, right? You dine at Taj or you stay at Taj, you spend 50,000 rupees, you earn 6,000 reward points, new coins, what you call it, right? And I'm not joking, 6,000 is actually a number. You can earn that much. Now those 6,000 coins which you earn, okay, you can use it across categories. You can go to Chroma store, you can buy your groceries from Big Basket, you can buy medicines from 1mg. But if you're not able to use it, or if there is any problem, okay, there'll be a challenge. Okay. So that is one part of a customer experience. You're not able to navigate through the app and get what you wanted, that's part of it. Once you are done with the purchase and services, if you are not able to service the customer, that's another part of it. So all these things tied up, okay, providing best customer experience, okay, is a key. When we sponsor Tata IPL, okay, and we give this more than 1,000 tickets to Tata New Box, okay, for people to, those are customers who have just purchased some stuff from our app, okay. That is a different customer experience which you are providing it. So to summarize, offers, loyalty points are good. Of course, they should be universal. They should be good to attract. Provide them the best customer experience. They'll stick to it. Okay, they will be there. Okay, they will buy your services. Okay.
Yes, yes. Now coming to you, Protiti, can you please quickly share how do you design, content journeys that serve both education and engagement across SCPs? Healthcare professionals.
Thanks, Archana. The question again on content. I think we live in a world of social media where it's about doom scrolling, where it is about everything else, right? So I think, in the pursuit of being fast, what people often forget is that you need to be right as well. And that's, a kind of mandate, at least, for the pharma and healthcare industry. Again, going back to point number one is because of the impact that, your products have, right? So you need not necessarily be fast always. Yes, you need to be real time, you need to be relevant, etc. But you need to be right? And therefore, I think when it comes to designing content and then, omni-channel journeys, I think two key things is first, understanding your audience really, really well. Now, apart from all other stakeholders that typically a pharma company or a healthcare company would have, from a commercial perspective, two key stakeholders or customers that we have is HCPs and patients, right? And patient centricity in content is something which is key for all the journeys, for all your offline, online touch points, etc. that you have. So number one is understanding your audience. Number two, and I'm keeping short of because we have a time constraint. Second is that how well you're designing your content. Is your content snackable? Is your content interactive? Does it really add value to your customer? Are they able to understand? Are they able to access it, right? Is it easy to search? Right? So number two is about designing your content format in a way which is palatable to your customers, right? Number three, obviously again data optimization. I'm a true believer that data can do wonders to your campaigns. So data optimization on content, channel preferences, because that's how you also keep on segmenting your audiences, which is again key to your journeys, etc. That becomes very, very important. Fourth, last but not the least, is I would say storytelling. Very relevant for an industry like pharma, where often the content is perceived to be a bit dry, a bit jargonish, because it has a lot of science, graph, clinical trials, etc., etc. So I think key is that you're storytelling it in a certain way that your customers and patients, for example, they are able to understand it and therefore they are able to understand their treatment options, their way they would go and interact with the doctor, and eventually how it impacts their life. Are there any safety associated with it? Is there any risk of taking a certain medication? So keep it easy, keep it simple, keep it relatable, so that your audience can not only empathize with it, but they can also relate to it. And I think this goes a long way into making your customers loyal, build trust, and at the end of the day, deliver the business outcomes that it is meant to be.
Keep it easy and relatable. I think that is the core of the discussion. And thank you everyone for sharing your time and wisdom with us. It was a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much.